Hey guys, welcome to another Anime Kingdom discussion and review. This one will be on Akame Got Killed episode 4. So the episode starts off showing that one crazy guy that we saw, at the end of the last episode. Pretty much, he killed one of the guys and he's got some girl holding her by the head. She's like begging him not to, kill her. She'll do anything. He's like, "Oh really?" And he just cuts her head off. You're like, "Will you talk with me?" At first. And she's like, "Yeah, I will." But she cuts her head off still yet. He's like, "Oh," I don't know. He's just crazy, pretty much. That's all I gotta say. Um, After that, back at Night Raid's base, we have Tatsumi, shirtless, training with his Aniki, shirtless as well, and he's getting all tired. And they have a game moment together. And then all of a sudden, they're pretty much right next, like he's holding Tatsumi, and all of a sudden Akame comes out of nowhere, and she's like, "It's time to make breakfast, Tatsumi." And he's like, he quickly like walks around, like obviously like what the hell. It's okay when they're alone, but when someone else comes, like, oh no. After that, we see Leone, Tatsumi, and Akame eating the breakfast that they made, and there's two bowls left, and it's mine's and Sheila's, and them not being there, I guess, is it happens all the time. That's what Akami says, and all of a sudden she just eats all the food, all their food, super fast, like all wrong. I swear, whenever you watch an anime, the food looks just delicious. The way they're eating is like, oh man, I wish I could eat that like that, and all that food is just awesome. But all of a sudden, Sheila comes in like, huh? Where's my breakfast? Ah. So after that, we see the boss, and she finds a messenger. He's really hurt, and turns out that that messenger's from the Revolutionary Army, and he had a whole group with him, but he was the only one that got back, got there, survived, and he gives her this, the message, which it has like names of supporters who offers their assistance, after when the revolts start, and he then dies right there. After that, we're back at Night Raid's base, and they're all gathered because they have a new target, and the target is that crazy guy, and it's he's pretty much killing a lot of people all over the capital, and that's when Lubbock this figures out, oh, it's probably Zonk, the executioner, and he was an executioner for the largest prison in the capital, and like he just cut off so many people's heads that like after years of doing it, it became a habit, and he was just, I guess he went crazy. He's crazy. That's why he's so crazy now. And after that, it turns out he's an Imperial Arm user, and they're talking about Imperial Arms, and when two Imperial Arm users fight, one person's gonna die no matter what. And then we learn a little bit more about Imperial Arms, and that they're pretty much these super strong weapons that were created 1,000 years ago by the emperor to protect the kingdom even after he died, and they're pretty much made by from super high level beasts and rare metal material that and it could, like, you can't make these anymore. You can't, I guess maybe those beasts are gone, or the rare material is completely gone now, but they were able to make 48 of them, and that's all. But some during the Civil War, it got spread out all over the place. Then we pretty much find out that every single person in Night Raid has an Imperial Arm, and they talk about which each one's does. Akame's blade is an enchanted sword that, when someone is cut, the cursed poison enters the wound, leading to death, and there is no antidote for it. So even if she just like cuts you a little bit on the cheek or anywhere, like a little cut, you're dead. There's no antidote. The poison will kill you. After that, we talk about Leone's belt, which is an Imperial Arm, which allows the user to become a beast, increasing their physical abilities and enhancing smelling. And I really wasn't paying attention before, I guess, but I thought she always had the ear things, kind of, and those hand things where she just liked to put them on, I thought maybe, but it's actually, that's her beast form. She grows ears and the paws, not much of a beast, but trying to make it so she doesn't turn a complete monster, I guess. I don't know. But after that, they talk about Mind's Gun, of course, that we've already seen that as well. It takes spiritual energy and expels it as a shockwave. And of course, as we learned before, the more the user is in a pinch, the stronger it is. After, it's about Bolato's armor, which pretty much just has an impregnable defense. We've already seen his armor as well. Lubok and his string, that string thing that he used before, which he could spread, creating a barrier that finds traps and enemies, and pretty much like a spider web, and super sharp, and just can cut people up, and shing! Yeah. Then we see they talk about Shile's scissor weapon, those huge ass scissors. Yeah, those things are pretty dang crazy, which possess the power to bisect anything in the world. And they even talk about how some Imperial arms have trump cards, like Bolato's armor can become invisible for a short while because of the materials. It's pretty interesting. Like, oh, so he can, like, go invisible all of a sudden. Surprise! Huge guy like that. Yeah, I get scared if all of a sudden he comes out of nowhere with that armor. After that, they split up. They're all around the capital looking for, Zank and Tatsumi's with Akame, and they search around. They talk about a little about Akame's sword and how, he thinks that she's invincible, of course, but that she says that there is one weakness, and that's maintaining it is nerve-wracking. And we get a little, like, visual of her, like, trying to clean it, but being very careful because just one cut and you're dead because the poison. I gotta agree. Just holding that thing is probably scary. I would just keep it in the sheath all the time. And, like, in a fight, like, all of a sudden, I don't know. If you're not trained, you will cut yourself and you will die. Just thinking about, like, accidentally cutting your finger when you're trying to clean it, all of a sudden, oh no, you're dead. No antidote to cure that. That sucks. And also that you need to directly cut the skin or the curse won't work on them. So people like Bolato's armor, that's a hard person for Akame to fight because the armor will just deflect it and stuff, After that, Tatsumi then walks away to go pee, so he's alone. All of a sudden, he sees Sayo at the end of the alley, and he's like, what? And he starts chasing after her. Like, finally, he catches up to her, and he hugs her, thinking, Sayo. He's all happy because she's actually there. But of course, she's dead. We know that already. And it turns out that's Zank. He transformed into her kind of in a way. And he's like, oh, and it turns out that, he's the executioner. He's going for him first. And it seems that one of the abilities of his Imperial arm, which is that eye thing on his head, is that he could pretty much read thoughts just by looking at their expression. So the fight begins, and Tatsumi is losing pretty badly because his thoughts are being read pretty much. So he knows, Zank knows what he's gonna do next, what he's gonna do, and Tatsumi does end up, like, he's like, I'm gonna get you this one final attack, and shing, he does get a cut on him because it was so fast. Even though he read Tatsumi's thoughts, it was so fast he wasn't able to react in time. But still, Tatsumi got the bad end of that trade, and huge cut on his back, and he falls down to the ground. And after that, Zank is rushing to kill him, because he's on the ground. There's nothing Tatsumi's gonna be able to do. He's pretty much out. And Akame, of course, comes and saves him. So another of Zank's abilities is that he can pretty much see through clothes. And of course, you don't see that used on Tatsumi. We see that used on Akame. Thanks for the fan service. Little of that to check if she has, hidden weapons on her and stuff. But then they fight, and even Akame can't land a hit on him because, it's hard when your opponent knows what you're going to do next. And she knows that, he's been in many fights, many battles, so he's also trained. After that, she calms herself and goes into a state of nothingness, which Zank realizes because she's not thinking or anything. But Zank's Imperial Eye has one other ability, and that is pretty much he can see tell by their muscles and see what their next move is. So like if you're you know you can tell I'm gonna attack from above. You can see my muscles, and that's how he knows. And he's even able to wound her. After that, he asks Akame if she hears voices too, because that's what he after he killed so many people, he started hearing voices of people and of the people he killed and their grudges against him, and they're telling him to come join him. Wayne, they want him to come join him in hell, pretty much. They want him to die for what they did to him, and that happens whenever it's quiet. So that's why he likes to talk a lot. But of course, Akame says no. He hears no voices, and he's like, oh, he thought an assassin like her would, understand and stuff. Zank then uses another ability of his Imperial Arm, which makes one person see that the person who they value the most appears in front of them, and that's why Tatsumi saw Sayo before, And Akame sees her sister, and thinking that she won't attack her sister, he goes and dashes at her to attack, but Akame does not falter at all. She just slashes at him and manages to even crack his blade, his weapon, and he's just so surprised. And it's because she loved her the most that she's able to kill her as swiftly as possible. So I wonder what that is, like probably later on we'll get to know, but it's really interesting. I want to know. I wondered that the last time they talked about Akame's backstory and what happened to her sister, So after that, Zank still thinks he can, he can win because he could still read her moments. Her movements. She can't kill him yet. So they're fighting. It's a pretty dang crazy fight. All of a sudden, breaks his weapon and slashes his neck, and he goes down. Tatsumi then says, "We did it," and I'm thinking to myself, "We did it? You didn't do anything. I mean, you fought him and maybe distracted him for a little while and figured out that he could read thoughts. But you didn't even really hurt him. You slashed him on the cheek a little. It's pretty much a paper cut. So, whatever." But then Akame says that, she's sure you can't hear the groaning anymore. And Zank says the noises have stopped. Splendid, splendid. And he thanks Akame. And he's guessing, I would think too, after killing so many people, cutting their heads off, you would go crazy, Doesn't be like, oh, okay, then I see why he did that. No, but do understand a little why he went crazy. Then Tatsumi is shown at Sayo and Iyasu's graves, and then Akame comes and says it's time to make dinner, and Tatsumi asks, "Who did you see back there?" And she says when the time comes she will tell him, and that for now, however, she can say that everyone in Night Raid is precious to her, including him. To which Tatsumi blushes and says, "What?" It was cute. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. I give the episode a 7.5 out of 10. It was interesting, had good action, but I want to have a little bit more like backstory on every single character. Maybe we'll get that in the next episode, but this one was more just about, I did like it for the fact that it we learned a lot about Imperial arms and stuff, and we had the fight, so it was really, I did enjoy the episode. So as I always say, discussion, guys. Comment below what you thought about the episode. If you have questions for me, comment that below too. So hope you guys enjoyed this review. Till next time, guys. See ya.